I had just been fresh out of the 50 race challenge and stuff like that, so I was like, I knew the track, and you still hit walls, and
Oh
you
yeah,
hit them hard.
absolutely. Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's Sidetracked. I am Jason, along with Armand Deligny.
Hello, everyone.
So we're bringing everyone kind of up to speed on where we're at with different drivers and stuff behind the scenes. Track talk, tech talk, driver interviews, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's really just here for you guys to learn more about our drivers and how we kind of do everything behind the scenes at competition karting. So it was recommended by Katie and PJ. They wanted to learn more about you because very synonymous with the Ghosts. Not many people know about you, so give me the rundown. So, Armand, what I know about you is that you're French. You're from France, right?
Correct.
Okay, then you moved to the United States.
Yep.
That's about all I know, and your nickname's Ghost, so fire away.
All right. Well, good. Well, it's good to know. So yeah, born and raised in France. Actually, I was born in Le Mans, which I mean, pretty famous for the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I started karting at a really young age, about 4 or 5. It's a much popular sport over in Europe. Nothing really high level, just backyard go-karting, K1 style, just a couple times a year here and there. We moved to the U.S. in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
I was 14 at the time. At that point, really took a break from karting for about 10 or so years. Got back into it slowly here in the U.S. and here over the past 2 years, really got back into it, and been racing almost weekly here at K1 Speed Canton. So really enjoying it.
Yeah, I remember you coming on. So you were here towards the end of the first year they opened, right?
Actually, I started right off the bat.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think my first day ever here was the first league night for Challenge GP.
Gotcha. Those were the days of GP when everything was, how do you say it? There was a lot more people here.
Yeah, I think first night we had 45 or something. It was pretty
like
crazy.
4 or 5 heats, I think.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy. France and that. I've always heard that karting is taken a lot more seriously over there than it is over here. Like, so your equivalent K1 is like outdoor gas kart kind of arcade game type thing, but over there this K1 location is more like on par with kind of how it is over there all the time. Is that true?
Exactly. Yeah. So like when I tell people I used to race go-karts, they're always thinking of like the sluggers and putters or like the family attraction where it's you go 5 miles an hour in a circle and you can't really go fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like a location like K1 Speed is really more like the norm in Europe.
Yeah.
Where you're going fast. I mean, like it's you got a helmet, race suit at times. It's taken much more seriously. So
that's pretty cool though. So it's a really good segue into this kind of karting. So very competitive karting. So learning that at a really young age. I know when I was interviewing Rachel, the juniors in GP was going on. And I was like, man, I wish I would have started that young with karting because it teaches you a lot of maneuvers that you don't learn as bad habits. So you get the good habits right off the rip. So that's really cool. But what brought you back into karting then after such a time off of it?
I've always loved it. And again, it was more like an availability. So when we moved to the U.S. in 2004, I didn't race for a while. Then my parents moved down to South Carolina, and there was a location that opened down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I started racing there every time I went down to South Carolina. So a couple of times a year, I got into racing more gas karts, Trackhouse Motorsports, I think, in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yep.
So did some races down there, met some friends, and then when K1 opened in my backyard, I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is what I've always dreamt of doing. I love go-karting. I'm an avid race fan.
Yeah.
Love watching Formula One. So
is Formula One like your go-to series?
It is my go-to series.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you get into K1. So you've been here for a couple of years. I know I raced with you at the World Championship last year. So when they did the KRS points, are you going this year again?
I am. I'm excited. A little disappointed of how it ended last year. Felt like I had a better chance at placing nationally and potentially all the way up to Worlds. But hopefully Take Two comes out better. Say
Love
that.
it. Yeah, World Championships was something else last year.
I mean, overall, like the track was amazing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Karts were really fun.
Yep.
I mean, the experience of driving those karts, I definitely recommend it to everybody that's watching this podcast.
Absolutely.
It's compared to a normal K1 or any arrive and drive location, this is next level. So that
really
was a blast.
is. And then I know that they had us on 4, which is incredibly competitive. I know Rachel has a 360 video that we have on the stream, and it has it going up to
62,
60,
63.
Yeah, 60-some miles an hour, right? And there was a speed above that still. So I'm thinking it's like, man, I can't wait for them to open that up because you get better and better and better every time you drive those karts. And if you're not used to something like that, it's absolutely
dangerous.
wild.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the setup they had before they had the runoffs and everything like that, it was...
Yeah, it's like anytime anyone went wide, it was in the dirt, kicked so much dirt on the track, then you had no traction.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was recipe for disaster.
What was your favorite moment of that race, though?
I think when Rachel, Marshall, myself, Corey, and you raced that B main, that was a lot of fun. Like the head-to-head driving and getting past people. Rachel and I started all the way in the back and made our way up to first and second. So that was
swept
really
the podium.
Yeah. Corey finished third, and I think Marshall finished fourth.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a really good time, and the experience of going out there is really fun. So how about outside of racing? Let us get to know, because I know it was the show us more the bald guy.
The bald guy, that's me.
Do you even know who said that on the stream last year?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. No.
If you watch this, let us know who you are, because it was someone totally random that checked into the 12 hours, and they just wanted to see more of Armand. So here he is.
That's always good. Here I am.
Did you go to college?
I did. Kent State.
For
translation, which, I mean, obviously, right?
Obviously.
So I speak French. I also speak Spanish.
Fluently?
My Spanish, un poquito. My Spanish has gone down. I haven't been practicing as much. I also took 2 years of Mandarin Chinese in college as well. Yeah, so
that's a hard language to learn.
It was very hard, very, very hard.
Wow.
So that's completely dropped off. So sorry, teachers. Completely lost that. But
if you don't use it, you lose it, though.
Exactly. That's a big thing. So I'm a father of 2.
Nice. Okay, how old?
Yep. My daughter Adelaide is 6, and my son Theodore is 4. So
cool.
They keep me busy pretty much all the time.
Are they getting into racing as well?
So my daughter's not tall enough. Both of them aren't tall enough, but
okay.
she's getting really excited to when she's going to be tall enough. She's always like, hey, am I tall enough to go karting? Am I tall enough? So we're almost there. I think within the year we'll be there, and Theo's not far behind, so I think they'll both be very excited. And as a dad, I mean, I'm gonna be super excited. I'll probably be even more excited than them.
Do they have like racing games at home, like a sim or anything like that, or go-kart for the yard? Or
not really. I mean, they have their bikes that they ride around, but nothing too crazy yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So
cool.
we'll see. We'll keep them on 4 wheels for now too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not like the Corey lifestyle where all his kids are on 2 wheels.
Before they're like 3, I think.
Exactly,
Corey's got a kid that's Cooper's. I think he is 3, and he's running around on a Stasic jumping jumps that I don't jump on 2 wheels.
That's crazy,
so.
Crazy. Kid's gonna be good.
Yeah,
Kid's
he
gonna
is.
be good. So yeah, other than that, spending a lot of time with them. I play volleyball just a couple times a week, so that's along with go-karting, my other physical activity. I work for FedEx.
Sweet. What do you do there?
Where I handle the northern border for Canada clearance. So anything that goes to and from Canada, my team handles.
Nice.
So a lot of documents with customs, clearance, brokers, boring stuff.
Sounds like I need a data. You have like that job though where that's good because you can consolidate all that into data and then just run it back and forth. So
yep.
Are you like a manager or you?
I'm a manager, yes.
Okay, so you oversee all of that stuff too, which is even more documentation and more data. So you'd be good at that. I could see that.
I enjoy it. So
how long have you been doing that?
Man, I've been there for 13 years now.
Really?
13 years.
Did you start off in FedEx or?
Yeah.
Like FedEx. I mean, so there's different like FedEx. Freight and home delivery and everything like that. You've always been FedEx corporate.
I'm FedEx Freight. That's the branch I'm in. Actually, it was my second job. My first job ever was Home Depot when I was in high school. I was a cashier, and then when I was in college, I found this job with FedEx. Started there, and I've been there ever since, moving up through the ranks. So
no kidding. It's very hard to find that nowadays.
It is, and I still enjoy it 13 years later. So
that's even harder to find. So
yeah.
Wow. Well, good luck to anybody that wants to steal them from FedEx, but it speaks to kind of how you are, and you're very loyal like that. So I could see that, where especially data driven and stuff like that. But you like to plan stuff out. So you're in a big you're in a big company. It's a comfortable spot as far as that goes for employment. So I mean, we need more people like you is what I'm trying to say. It's hard to find people like that. So I did race the endurance outdoor karting with you. Us walking into it with a lot of talent, a lot of know-how, a lot of organization and strategy. We were kind of set back a little bit on our back foot because, it is a long race. There's a lot to think about. But working with you in the strategy side of that really did show one of, I think, your best attributes as a person. You're able to look at what's going on and then look ahead far enough when a lot of people can't and say, this move here is going to impact the next 5 things, so we have to do this. And it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to you, and watch it play out, because it does work like that. So that was a really, really cool thing, racing with you, is you're able to look that far ahead when most people aren't. So
yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's you got to think of things that aren't unexpected, really, when you talk about strategy, and sometimes it might mean let someone by.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm talking to you, Cash and Roman. Sometimes, hey, letting someone by and really following them, and like even if you're in a slower cart, it might benefit you down the line. I know I've used that strategy in endurance races before, and it's helped me win the race. And really, it's planning, like you said earlier, is planning your moves, even if it's 3-4, even 3-4 corners ahead of time, 2-3 laps ahead of time, really placing yourself, but. It's understanding what's going on around you. That's the biggest thing. A lot of racers are really focused on their race, their cart, their line, but you have to sometimes lift your head up, look around. Know, like when I race, I'm looking at the scoreboard and I'm not looking at my time. I'm looking at every single person. I can tell you at any given point what lap time someone's hitting or what they're doing, and I know when people are in the pits. And different strategies. So
which is ironic because you say that as you drive.
Yep.
Like this aerodynamically. His head's always tucked in like this, and so you're still reading the scoreboard and everything, taking in all that data.
Absolutely.
Love it.
It's all processing in here while it's just muscle memory with the I could probably go with my eyes closed. I've tried that before. Don't recommend
Actually,
it.
I was the fastest one out of the 3 of us.
That is true.
It's not something to be proud of. Okay, we'll say it. So we drove the track blind, and it's used as like a corporate. The driver gets a radio, and then you black out the face mask and the helmet, and then you're supposed to rely on your corporate partner, teammate, whoever. It's a bonding experience, which it's not a great bonding experience.
Don't rely on Jason. He tells you to go left when you're supposed to go right, and then you hit a wall.
I was so tired, and I was like looking at the cart as it was coming at me, imagining I was the cart. Then I got that really messed up, and I was like, hard right, and he goes hard right, and I meant left, and he went straight into a wall. There's a video. We've got to find that video.
Yeah, we got to find the clip. Yeah, it's.
Straighten it out. A little bit left. Right, hard right. There you go. Straighten it out. I had just been fresh out of the 50 race challenge and stuff like that, so I was like, I knew the track, and it's not, like I said, it's not something to be that proud of, because to make that work, you still hit walls, and you hit them hard, because it's not like we were being kind to each other with that.
I mean, no matter how many times you drive a track, when you drive it blindfolded, your senses are completely different. You rely on cues when you can see, but when you can't see, you're relying on sound, and you try to think muscle memory. You know when you're going to turn, but when is the exact second you're going to turn?
I was doing the 1-2 turn, and then 1-2 wall. So, yeah, I tried to block out what people are saying, because I was trying to go like with my own timing, because I'd driven it so much, but it was still very tough. So, yeah, okay, so way sidetracked there, but all right. Welcome to the show.
That's part of the show.
I know it. So what's your favorite thing? Speaking of random stuff that we've done here, what is your favorite thing that we've done at K1 so far?
I would say Joker Lane is definitely up there. Or any kind of, but again, back to strategy, like using the Joker Lane to get out of traffic, to get ahead of traffic. That's definitely a lot of fun. we can't do this very often, and again, we have to rely on the weather. But I love racing go-karts in the rain. That's probably my favorite part of go-karting is racing a go-kart on slick tires in the rain, where your traction is you have no traction essentially. So you have to change your approach completely, take the outside of the corner, and really adjust. And that's where I think I really thrive, is adjusting to the weather conditions. So again, we can only do it here when it sprinkles outside, because as soon as it starts raining hard, we got to stay indoors. Yeah. But we've done that a couple times, and it's an absolute blast.
It is. It is a lot of fun to do that. I'm almost surprised that you say that, because you're such a consistent driver. Like, I never qualified well, but I love racing. So, like, as soon as you put me in, like, position-based race, I'm all about it. But, like, you're such a consistent qualifier that you always qualify pretty well, too, except last night, which we'll get to in a minute. But, you know, you're always top of the sheets or somewhere in the top, and then your racing is really fast.
Talking about consistent, like, I was looking at the data from last night. I did 32 laps under a 26-second lap time last night.
That's pretty good.
Next highest, I think, was Roman, and he did 25. So, like, I mean, that's...
Wow. Huh. Okay. So, yeah, so you do like a little bit of swap it up, but you're also able to stay really consistent. And I think you're good at outside of normal, but I don't see you, like, going skydiving tomorrow morning because you just randomly felt like it. I see you skydiving 3 months out after watching YouTube and learning and taking the classes and stuff like that. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I like to keep it normal. Like, again, like you said, I'll go skydiving as long as I'm prepared for it. Maybe further down the line, but yeah, I like to
let me know.
Play it safe, I guess. Yeah. I will.
Yeah. So random stuff like last night, which really threw me for a loop, because I've heard two different things. One, I've heard that it was a team strategy that you'd be able to back up the field, which is definitely something I would have thought of and probably done to help out a teammate. The second thing I heard was that it was about cookies.
It was about the cookies. So
option two.
Cookies.
Cookies fix everything.
If you know me, I'm all about the food. So, so no, actually, it was a bet with Cash and Roman.
Okay.
And it started, I think, the last endurance practice. So last week, I bet them that I could come from last and win the race.
Wow. Okay.
And so qualifying was like, all right, I'm going to make the slowest time possible and finish last. So I kind of just stayed out the way, did a couple laps, got a 34-second, and started last.
Huh.
And Marshall heard of that, and he's like, I'll try it too. So that's why Marshall also was slow during that qualifying.
That is a tough race to go from last to first. Boost, I could see it. Endurance, because... And if you're factoring in the rookies last night, everybody was in the 26s.
Yeah.
Everybody. So you have to run in 30 minutes of time frame, not 12 hours. You could probably do it, but in 30 minutes you have to hustle. Like, do you know the average for, like, if everyone was averaging like a 26.5, how fast would you have to run in 30 minutes just to catch up with them?
Oh, I can tell you, because I pulled all the data.
I love it.
And it was a 26.139, and Cash ran a 26.268, so 0.1 a lap.
Wow.
And I gained 8.3 seconds on him. But starting last, I essentially started 9 seconds behind him.
Right.
So that's the difference. In 30 minutes, you need to gain a 10th a lap.
Wow.
to make up 9 seconds. 9 seconds.
Yeah.
So that shows you how important pit stops and errors on track can be.
Everything. And, the comment with that, and you mentioned it earlier about letting people by, and you're like, this is for Cash and Roman, but really it's for everyone.
It is.
I've said it 5 million times. I've done a lot of endurance racing. Just let them by, and the reason is it's a very long race, and if you slow down and are blocking, like I saw Cash or Roman last night was blocking Rachel.
They were losing time.
And you lose so much time. And the other thing is you stack the field up. And exactly what happened, PJ is right behind Rachel. And that momentum in a bad turn, you're going to mess up somewhere.
Yeah, someone's going to get spun out.
And that momentum behind the person that you're trying to block has that train behind them. And they'll bump that person through the turn right around you. So it's
and once you get to the outside of a train, you could lose 1, 2, 3, 4 positions like that. So you always have to be careful. And I knew this off the bat was pit on lap 1 on the very first lap.
I love it.
Yeah, and run the entire race on essentially one kart since I drove one lap on the other one. and is to really gap myself from the field and just pedal to the floor and just knock out the fast laps. And so I was hoping that by the time I'd catch up to the field, people would start pitting, people would get out, essentially like the Red Sea would open, and I would just like pass everyone. And it worked in my favor.
Yeah.
I was able to really stay consistent. I mean, most of my laps were in the 25s.
Yeah.
And even if Cash and Roman had some faster laps than me overall, consistency base, I had more laps than them in the 25s, which allowed me to make up that time.
Right.
So.
It whittles away at it little by little.
Exactly.
And then you died 1 lap to go.
I died with 1 lap. It was
half a lap, basically.
It was 38 seconds on the board. 38 seconds.
And then you just kept pushing it. You were like,
I'm rolling through the finish line. I'm finishing this race one way or another. I'm not going in the pits. In an endurance format, you have to leave the pit stop in. It's part of the strategy. It's part of the race.
You like it. You don't like the original of run the cart till it dies. You have to drive conservatively.
Correct. You need that extra factor of a pit stop.
It's like 50-50 split on that.
And that's what makes the difference between an endurance and a sprint.
Okay.
Because, I mean, at that point, you're just doing a 30-minute sprint.
My dream of the endurance was always like, give them enough fuel to have a set number of laps that we know this can go, and then you have to make this number of laps or your battery runs out, your fuel runs out. So run it, and you have to conserve a little bit, but not. And then the opposing side of that was the pit stop, which is run all out. Yep. And then, but either way that it goes, with or without the pit stop, I see these races getting longer than 30 minutes because of the new batteries.
Correct.
I also see the speed coming up in the endurance race, for sure. It's going to be a race that's more driven around driving a kart really well, really fast for a really long amount of time. So,
I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, because I think we're at a point where everyone's comfortable.
Yes.
And when you push the the comfortable to uncomfortable, that's where you start seeing mistakes. That's where you start seeing really drivers that can get the lap times down, and that's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah, and there is a point on this track, and James has talked about it, where it becomes undrivable. There is like that point of, we've had the karts turned up, we've played with different speeds where it's like, this is really tough.
I've tried it.
Yeah.
And man, there's one speed where
God mode.
Yes, exactly, and
I love it though.
It's a blast because it pushes you.
Forces you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's again back to the California to the K1 speed circuit. You have to drive the car differently. Like you have to be heavy on the brakes. Like here, you might in current settings you might have to brake one time in turn one. The rest is you lift, you coast, you adapt. But when you start having to brake for every single corner, you have to change your strategy completely.
Very much. So you're a fan of that then, of being able to switch that around.
Going fast. Go as fast as we possibly can.
Yeah.
within safety.
Within reason, right? I've always said to people, I go, if you haven't tried this, come out and try it. And then if you enjoy it, find a line. And then once you find a line, you'll get faster, more confident, and then find a league.
Come race with friends. Come to a league. Follow someone that's been here, that's done the track before. That's how you learn. I mean, I've learned from Cash, from Roman, from Rachel, from Marshall, from David, from Corey, like just understanding their lines and seeing what they do differently. Because even though our track times are all very similar, we all do something different.
Oh, yeah, big time.
No matter what, there is a different line that's going to be better, and then you have to find it. And all the karts are different, whether like their speed, acceleration, the handling.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
awesome. All right, so who should we interview next? Because I've kind of thrown it out to everyone of like, who do you not know that well? Who would you like to get to know better? It's been really fun up to this point asking this question of how we got to you. And I'm wondering, because I didn't really know that much about you. Like, we've hung out a bunch of times, and I know, like, the basics and all that stuff, but there's, like, how did this become to be such a thing that's in your life is really interesting. And I'm glad that you shared that with us. But who's someone that you'd like to get to know better?
Well, who's already done the podcast?
So we've got Rachel started, and then Will Nonamaker, and then Katie and PJ together, and then you.
All right, perfect. A lot of interesting cats out there. I'm curious to know more about. I'll give you two names: either Marshall Miller or David Ponce.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll go with that, and we will catch that back up on the next episode of Sidetracked. Thank you guys so much for tagging along. I'm Jason, along with Armand. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.